Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yes. Loud and
Yes,
clear.
we can hear you.
Okay. In Jesus' name. Shall we pray?
Amen.
In
Amen.
Jesus' name. Father Lord, we thank you for a beautiful day like today. Thank you most especially for the gift of life. Thank you for making this day to come. Our technical and business meeting for Awka Owerri chapter. Thank you for all those who have joined for this meeting today. Thank you for all those that will still join. Thank you for the guest speaker, our president, and our president-elect. We are grateful unto you. We ask that you be with us in today's meeting and let everything be hitch-free. And we celebrate the success to the glory of your name. In Jesus' mighty name we have prayed.
Amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Austin, for that. So we can start. Chief Tunde, please help us project the program so that we can run with it. So like you can see very well, we are done with the opening prayer, and I would like to call on the technical coordinator or the technical chair, Dr. Chima Kelvin, to help take the safety briefing. Dr. Chima, you're on.
Good morning, everyone. Standing on the existing protocols. So I am standing in for Publicity Secretary, Dr. Ogechukwu Onyemesli. So to provide us with safety briefing. So for this meeting, we implore everyone that once you connect, first and foremost, to try to find like a peaceful, a serene atmosphere where you could easily hear the meeting clearly and avoid background noise which could impact the meeting. So, and also, once you connect, it would also be necessary that you mute yourself, put yourself on mute so that background noise would not also disrupt the meeting. So when you want to speak, then you could unmute yourself, speak, and then mute yourself again. So also when you want to speak, it would also be important that you indicate by raising your hand, and that way you will be recognized and then you can go ahead and speak. So let's try to abide by this safety rules so that we'll have a hitch-free meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kelvin Chima, for that. So the secretary is still trying to join us. I will quickly ask all those that were in our previous meeting at Owerri, who have also gone through the minutes of last meeting, to please raise their hand as a way of adopting it so that we can proceed. We have already shared it to emails and our platforms too, as many that were present in the last meeting that held at the Legend Hotel, Owerri. If I'm not seeing any hand up, the ESCO might ratify it and we proceed so that we can stay within the ambit of the timing. All right, on behalf of the ESCO, I, the coordinator, Dr. Dean, adopt that minute. So Let's progress with the coordinator's address. Tunde, please flip through the slides so that I can come in. Once again, I want to welcome everybody to this call. I see a lot of people on the call. Like I said earlier, the president, Elliot Ibia, FNAPE, is on the call. My president, you're welcome. I also see the president-elect, Abiodun Ogunjobi. My president-elect, you are welcome to the call. We also welcome one of our very own, when you talk about the industry finance, KK, as is fondly known, formerly Chevron, now with African West firm, as we get to know him. And he's serving as the chairman of today's meeting. Oga KK, you are welcome. Also going through the participants, I've already cited the former president, I think the first female president of NAPE, Adedoja, who is also on the call. Ma, you're welcome. We also have our advisory council, Professor Mwajide, on the call. You're welcome, and also Betty and many other people. We also see Professor Gunjomi and Adebaniji. A lot of us are in the call. You are all welcome. In the course of this, we will recognize each and every one of us. We also see the former coordinator of UK, Europe, Abimbola Duro-Bitan. You're welcome. Good to see you on the call. The former speaker at August technical meeting, Professor Betty Ozumba. Good to have you on the call. So, as we proceed, To the next slide, please. We already know this is an array of the Awka or ESCOs next. And basically, we have the coordinator, Dr. Dean. We usually try to let us know who these people are so that you get familiar with them. We also have Dr. Dobi currently in Abuja in a conference that's holding in Abuja. Dr. Chimuku, who is the General Secretary, he will join us soon. And Dr. Oge, currently in UK, is on the field work out of base now. She will connect soon. And our editor-in-chief or technical coordinator, Dr. Kelvin Chima, who just said the safety briefing. We also have our financial secretary, Dr. Austin Okonkwo, who said the opening prayer, and Dr. Sabinus Ibeneme, our treasurer, and the YP coordinator, who is also on the call, George Okeke, and our very own father, one of the members of the advisory council, Professor S. Mwajide.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right. So just as a way of taking us through what Awka Owerri has been doing through this year. Earlier this year, we were able to inaugurate the Alex Ekweme Federal University Ndufuanike Ikwo, and this is like a picture gallery. Yeah, next, a picture gallery of what happened. And we also had the UAP chair, Philip, was also present with Professor Mode, and the turn-up was massive from that university. You could see it from the picture. And again, we had the Awka Owerri technical meeting in June that held at Enugu, which was physical. First of its kind in a while, where Professor Musto Onoha was the guest speaker, and it was chaired by Dr. Betty Ozumba, Professor Betty Ozumba. Next, and we could see an array of fellows that came around, and a lot of people traveling within the East. There were a lot of students and agency and what have you were present. Again, we also went to Owerri, where we had our August meeting at the Legend Hotel, where the guest speaker was Professor Betty Ozumba. And this was chaired by our own fellow, Professor A.W. Mode. And we had a massive turnout, over 150 students and a lot of industry practitioners. Yeah, next. So the picture shows it all, what happened there. And again, one of our students' chapters did their chapter week. That's Nnamdi Azikiwe University, Awka, where they were able to probe some caves, Obunike Caves. If you're familiar with the Southeast, you understand that that's an interesting place to be, one of the subsurface exposure of the Niger Delta Basin, an outcropping Niger Delta section. And we had our GS, we have the GS, Dr. Chumuko, leading the team there, and it was quite engaging and educating. We also participated at the just concluded Lagos Mini Conference that was held for students. This was organized by NAPE and NMGS. We could see different schools from the Southeast, FNAI, Futo, ASUT, a lot of us. You could see the array with the executives of NAPE. And the good thing that came out from that is, we could say is Owerri, was that the Futo, Federal University of Technology, Owerri, won the best prize, the highest prize, worth 300,000 naira for the Bowel, what we call the quiz or Bowel competition. And that was a plus for the chapter. Yeah. Next. So overall, we've had the first technical meeting that was the synopsis of wells by Segun Obilaja. That was in March. We also had the one by Professor Mosto Onoha, and we had not too long ago the one around August by Professor Betty Ozumba. And today we are looking at a very interesting topic. And this is on evolving role of applied geosciences in the current energy dynamics. And we have a very strong hand that will be handling it. One of our very own, Dr. Godwin Amobi Allo, FNMGS. He will take us through this. So sit put as we go through this. I would like to call on the president, Mr. Elliot Ibie, to give us an opening address. My president, you have the floor.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks a lot, Dr. Dim, and good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this meeting, this technical session for the month of October. I was excited to join the Awka chapter because I know that the topic will be both interactive and insightful, and I wasn't shocked when I saw that it was my brother, Dr. Allo, who is presenting today. I want to thank all those who are taking time out to join the meeting, members of the association, members of the executive committee, members of the board of trustees, and members of the advisory council. Look forward to a very interactive meeting, as I mentioned before, and just want to thank you all for your time. A lot of energy in the next few weeks is planning for the November annual conference. But it's always heartening to see that in spite of all of that, we still have to take time out to ensure that our country educational program remains very robust. And I want to thank the PE for keeping these going for this year. And more importantly, for today, I want to thank members of the Awka chapter for putting this together. Thank you very much, and do have a great day.
Wow, thank you very much, my president. And it's an honor having you on this call. And we kindly request that you also sit, relax, and enjoy the program. I would also like to call on the PE as a way of opening remark to bring in our chairman, KK. My PE, you have the floor to bring in the chairman so that we can kickstart today's meeting.
Yeah, good morning, everyone. And it's nice to be with you at Awka Owerri Technical Business Meeting. Without taking too much of our time, I'll just go ahead to introduce the chairman. He's a well-known fellows of ours. We call him AK, and Kanu for full. Is the current Deputy Managing Director for West African Exploration and Production Limited, and is someone that is very passionate about NAPE, and is someone that has been very present in almost all the activities that NAPE has been conducting in the current year. So he's somebody that we can easily reach out to, and he will oblige at every hour to listen to our call. So on that note, I would like to welcome Mr. Kanu as the chairman of today's occasion. You are highly welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Dr. Dim, I hope I'm being heard.
You have the floor, my chairman.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thank you so much. And thanks for all the good comments, and also having my president-elect to announce me on this floor. You know, that is I don't have the right words, you know, but thank you very much. And thanks everyone who is on the call, who is on for this meeting. This is indeed a very great subject. Monday, Tuesday, we were in a workshop, a World Bank, IFC, federal government workshop, organized workshop on CCUS. And that begins to show or talk about the direction that the energy mix is going worldwide. And we in Nigeria, there's no way we can remain isolated. Even if we are not at the very front, we need to be aware of what the direction the rest of the world is going. And it was really very exciting and knowledge-bringing workshop. I also interact with a lot of young ones, students, and earth scientists, and a number of them come to me asking what direction is earth science going. And I try to encourage them to say there's always going to be a role for the earth scientists as we seek to provide energy that society would run on. And so I'm so glad to be on the platform and to be the one to introduce Dr. Allo, who from all I've had is the right person to talk to us today on this topic. Dr. Godwin Allo attended the prestigious Federal Government College, Owerri, for his secondary education and proceeded to the University of Benin, where he graduated with a Bachelor of Science degree, upper class in geology in 1977. He also has a master's degree, a PhD degree from University of Nigeria. He started his career as a geologist with the Nigerian Corporation in 1998, where he participated in key projects, including the recent National Coal Feasibility Study under the Nigerian Coal Resource Development Project. This project was sponsored by the United States Trade and Development Agency. He is a key member of the technical team that prepared the Nigerian coal blocks for bidding by the Bureau of Public Enterprises. He then moved in 2007 to Nigeria Geological Survey Agency, where he has been and been involved in many exploration and research projects under the agency's mandate, including those of the World Bank's Sustainable Management of Mineral Resources Project and the Mineral Sector Support for Economic Diversification Project. He is a pioneer team member of the National Gravity Network Program of Nigeria. This is a project that has been designed for the densification of existing primary gravity stations and linking them to the International Gravity Standardization Network of 1971. Over these past 16 years in NGSA, he has been involved in several airborne geophysical campaigns, particularly the ones that have to deal with acquisition, data QA/QC, processing, and interpretation. He has participated in the earlier airborne magnetic, radiometric, gravity, and time domain EM surveys under the SMMRP about a decade ago, and is actively involved in the current high-resolution airborne magnetic and radiometric surveys within the proof of concept areas. He is also deeply involved in the National Geochemical Mapping Project to delineate targets for further mineral exploration within the proof of concept areas covered by the high-resolution airborne geophysical surveys. In the course of his professional career, he has participated in over 80 projects with publications cutting across the field of airborne geophysics, ground follow-up geophysics, mineral exploration, regional gravity studies, geomagnetic field monitoring, earthquake monitoring. Yep, we may not be seeing lots of earthquakes, but our brother has been involved in monitoring this. He has had over 25 years experience in the field of geosciences, mining and mentoring of young geoscientists, which is really very key, and mining engineers. He is a fellow of FNMGS and currently is General Secretary and Assistant General Secretary to the Nigerian Association of Exploration Geophysicists. He is a registered geoscientist by the Council of Mining Engineers and Geoscientists of Nigeria. He is a member of the Geological Society of South Africa and a member of the Society of Exploration Geophysicists. He has won several awards, including the NMGS Total Energies Prize for Best Presented Research Paper, and has attended several national and international courses, seminars, and conferences. And he was elected the course leader for the International Seminar on Geology and Mineral Resource Management for Officials of Developing Countries. This was in China, 2018. He's a member of the board of Africa Center for Mineral Exploration and Development. His extracurricular positions include the fact that he's currently the Global Vice President of Federal Government College, Warri, Old Students Association. You can see he has never forgotten Warri and forgotten that college. He is the chairman, Federal Government College, Warri Old Students Association, the Abuja branch, and president of the Peskuna Foundation, established by the class of 1990 of the Federal Government College, Warri. He is currently an assistant director and head regional geophysics with the Nigerian Geological Survey Agency. So it's a privilege to have him, you, sir, make this presentation. So I think I'm going to turn it over to him. We are going to have time for contributions and questions at some point, and Dr. Dean will also be helping me when we get to that point for both of us to manage the contributions, questions, and then our esteemed lecturer will be providing the answers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my chair. Our guest speaker, you have the floor.
Okay, so good morning, Mr. President, NAPE, and good morning, other President-elect and other officials and ESCO members of NAPE. Our elders in the call, I say a good morning to you too. Members that have joined and people that have also seen some interest in joining us today in this program. I welcome you all. I'm happy to be here to deliver this. I'm trying to share my screen now. I just want to make sure that you're seeing that. Can you see the screen, please?
Yes, I can see it.
Yes, we can
see the screen.
Okay, so let me run it on slide then. Okay, so, and thank you, Oga KK, for that citation. I really appreciate. I'm humbled by having you read through that. Today we'll be discussing on the evolving role of applied geosciences in current energy dynamics. I call it a discussion because it's not going to be a one-way thing. I want each and every one of us that to have something to take home from today. And it's going to be as interactive as we would all want it to be. So we'll be running through that. And I just have a summary of an outline where we'll be having our introduction. We'll look at the geosciences and energy transitions in general. We'll also take a look at the current energy trend. And we'll dive into looking at minerals and their value chain. We'll look at availability of geoscience data because without data, what we are saying today wouldn't happen. So geosciences is all about data, and not just data, but quality, high quality data that can help us achieve our aims and targets. So we'll look at that and the role of the NGSA. We'll look at data generation, and how we're able to get data, regional data, large scale, local scale data, and the components of that, including geological mapping, geochemical, geophysical, etc. And we'll look at some of the opportunities we have for some critical minerals that are playing a role in the current energy dynamics. We'll also touch on some of the interventions that we've had in the industry in line with this current trend. Such interventions from the mean diver, and those from the National Integrated Mineral Exploration Project. And we'll conclude. Okay, so if we look at what is happening today, our modern world is being shaped and reshaped by the non-renewables from time and from history, where we've had fossil fuels, coal and oil and gas, and they have all increased their shares steadily in their contribution to our energy demand. Because of that, the fossil fuel has become a culprit of sort, and because of growth again in populations and expansion in our industries all over the world. This has attendant increases in atmospheric CO2. So you would see that because of these fossil fuel, which over the years has helped us to industrialize, they've become culprits somehow for having affected or affecting our environment, especially the climate. So the climate-driven phenomena, we believe, is going to be intensifying, and we will see this in various rise in ocean levels, coastal cities being endangered, destruction of wildlife, all what. But this transition, which me and you are already experiencing, we know is not going to come easy and fast. It's going to have its own challenges, because for you to switch from what we have now, being driven mainly by the fossil fuels, and try to be replaced by the renewables, is not going to come easy and fast. So it's good that each and every one of us become so mindful of that. If you look at the current trend in the world, as there become imbalances in energy supply worldwide, countries and continents whom have turned their back, so to say, on some of these fossil fuels, you see them reigniting and starting up their plants to still go back to those fuels that have sustained man for several decades and centuries. So historically, you could see that for geosciences and energy transition, there are two sides of one coin. You can't have energy transition without talking of the geosciences. So historically, geosciences has played very key and significant role in that direction, and is still going to play those roles as we wish to deliver, as we look forward to deliver that net zero energy in future. So these roles of the geosciences, of course, as we're having this energy transition, we're also going to mandate some movement in geoscience. So there would be some geoscience transition. If you look at issues that have to do with having good geological environment for carbon storages, then you will see that geoscience is going to go through a transition itself. Those areas that hitherto were not really looking directly on what geosciences would contribute are going to become very prominent. So if you look at what I have on the screen there, so you could see where as geoscience is playing that role in extraction, in your low carbon geoenergy, in the storage, and even in storing waste, because the target every time is to manage your waste and then minimize your waste as much as you can. So if you look at that chart, then you could see that we have a lot to do, even as we are transiting, both from surface levels and from resources deep down the earth. So one important thing we have to realize is that the current transition, which is blowing around the entire world, is as a collision of energy. That's how I see it. That's why I call the fossil fuel culprit, because of the challenges the climate is having tied to the usage of these fossil fuels. But you also have interests of nations, clashing of interests by powerful nations. So it's not being driven entirely by new discoveries or technologies or innovations. It's being pushed, forcefully pushed by, yes, the climate is challenged, but again, there's a lot of government and powerful nations coming into play in this current transition. Unlike some other transitions the world has experienced, moving from wood to coal to hydrocarbon, of course, petroleum, oil, and gas. You see, those ones were driven more by technologies and innovations, more than just issues that have to do with climate, yes, or push from different powerful nations all over the world. So, but with this increasing importance of the renewables, we know that the natural gas is still going to play a very great role in the current energy trend that we're experiencing. So on the fossil fuel side, you find out that we'll be having a lot of liberalization, globalization of the LNG market. And we're already seeing that even in our nation at the moment, everybody is talking of a conversion of one system of petroleum or, petrol or diesel engine to gases. So gas is going to play a lot of role, both in the automotive industry and well beyond. So how are these dynamics, how has it been over the years? And if you look again at the slide that is on the screen, you could see from about 1800 to this moment, we will still have our traditional biofuels. The wood still being around, notwithstanding all the noise we have. Is a challenge, but the issue is that yellow down there still tells us that the wood have been quietly looking at all the noise, but they're still around, even trying to have some bonds of usages in the last two decades. Then, of course, we had the Industrial Revolution around 1880, which was driven more by coal. After that, followed in the 20th century by mass transportation. So you have a lot of our transport system, especially the ship and air, all using fuel from oil. There's also a contribution by electrification and gas, and hydro, and nuclear. So if you look at that, where we have the green for our current transition, is looking like a very tiny contribution. But again, this we believe would expand significantly by over 500% as we move to the 2050 net zero targets. This is still a chart on now the consumption apart from this trend. And as I mentioned, the fossil fuel still contributes significantly to the energy demand worldwide. We could see that all the way back from the 60s to the 80s, we've had a steady rise because of increase in population, industrialization, and demand for these fuel. We also see the contribution coming from other sources, especially the renewables, including the traditional biofuels and the modern biofuels. We could see some of the bombs there being represented by, of course, when we had recessions, like the one in 2008, the global recession. Then that's why you have that dip there, which was was short-lived. We also have the shock on our energy demand during the COVID era. And that's where you see those drops and drops, showing that, yes, we're in a world that is wound together. Not no one is independent. You could imagine a shock that has affected the whole world that has to do with health, has affected both economy, both energy, and all what we have been discussing. So if we're going to have this low carbon economy, and we'll be looking at some minerals that would drive that fourth industrial revolution. And I'm always happy that at times, I always want to emphasize that people tend to focus on the direct technologies, especially those that have to do with storage that would drive this transition. But there are various minerals that are very critical as for the sub-technologies on which some of these direct storage materials or minerals would have to rely on. Look at minerals like, elements like aluminum, chromium, cobalt, copper, graphite, iron, and the host of them, as you can see, listed there. People tend to focus squarely on the minerals that are directly related to the storage technologies like the lithium. So in Nigeria, of course, we have quite those minerals that will act for the storage, like the lithium, and those that will play a significant role in providing the sub-technology. So those metals, we have them, and they are ores in Nigeria. So we'll be looking at metals like lead, they are ores, zinc ores, lithium, manganese, iron, copper, coltan, cobalt, then also graphite. So how are these minerals relevant to the low carbon technologies? On the screen, we are looking at how these minerals on each of these energy systems that we are proposing would help lift man into the new future. You talk of wind, then you could see that elements like aluminum, chromium, copper are all going to play significant roles, manganese, in developing components that would help the wind energy to be a sustainable energy that would help as a renewable in the net zero targets. Also for hydro, same for geothermal. If you look at an element like chromium, it cuts across virtually all energy systems that we have. Likewise, copper. If you look at graphite, yes, directly for storage systems. You also look at lithium. Lithium would plot more for storage systems. But again, as I said, that's the one that makes the most noise around us, even in the country currently. So this is just a list to show you that apart from the ones that will play direct role in creating storage system, batteries, and all whatnot, there are a whole lot of other mineral commodities or elements, and there are ores that will play very significant role in these targets. Then we also have to think, if we are thinking of that, then we must think of reducing wastages and making the best use of our mineral resources. This is for not just for Nigeria, but for the whole world. It's just that Nigeria somehow, this part has not really been kicked into us, so to say. So you still see a lot of our minerals leaving the country and without no value addition. But for the standards, the target that is that even when we're exploring, we should have ideas of comprehensive exploration, comprehensive exploitation with the target of zero waste. So if we think comprehensively for our exploration, think comprehensively for exploitation, then it will be better and more sustainable for mankind as we transition. And this is what it looks like in most, in Africa. What is the mineral value chain like? So you could see that most of the value chain in Africa ends at best at smelting and refining. In many other African countries, including Nigeria, it stops basically maybe even around mining, or at best some level of processing. For smelting and refining, we are not yet doing so well with that. But if this value chain is maintained, it will be to the benefit of the country and to the benefit of the entire system as we transit. Most of the developed world have moved beyond just smelting, but semi-fabrication, and they're adding much value to it now. So that will bring me now to how do we go about this? In every mineral resource or petroleum resources or any earth resource, you must have a process. You must have what is driving you to search for your target. And the most driving force, or the critical force, as I mentioned earlier, is data. If you don't have the data, then you are blind. And that brings us to the role of the organization I work for, the Nigerian Geological Survey Agency. The idea is that the geological surveys all over the world are a reflection of the geosciences community in each of these countries. And I would like to say that if the geological survey of a nation is not doing so well, then the mining sector would have challenges. And that is why it's very critical that all industry players, all professionals must be proud of their geological survey and rely on their geological survey and make sure they contribute to the success of the geological surveys. Each country modifies their geological survey based on needs. You could see some countries that have even transited into making their geological survey much more robust than we would have thought. Take a country like South Africa, where their traditional geological survey, now known as the Council of Geosciences, involves itself not just in providing primary data, but involving itself in high quality research, high quality exploration, target exploration, as programs that can help the industry. For our geological survey here, of course, we do a lot of detailed geological investigation. The Geological Survey also serves as the national depository of geoscience information and compiles most of the comprehensive and integrated data collection, disseminates them both in various forms like geological data, geochemistry data, geophysics, economic geology, geochronology, marine, and even monitoring the magnetic space. So the Geological Survey has done this over the years, and I have here a slide that is showing us the transition of the Geological Survey, evolution of the geological maps and mineral maps of the country. And if you look at the map we have for 1943, as I mentioned, that even as we are transiting, in that 1943, there was also need to look at energy sources for the country. So the Geological Survey then had target mappings for providing geological data. And a lot of that was around issues, minerals, energy minerals like coal and lignite. There were also a lot of works, if you look at it, the North Central on the tin deposit of central Nigeria. So there was no total coverage geological map of the country as of that time until 1957. And that progressed and got reviewed in 1974, down to 1983, 1994, 2004, and of course to 2020, and the current map that you'll be seeing on the screen. So now you have a geological map. So that helps you at least to have an idea of if I'm searching for a mineral, and of course I should have an idea of the origin of that mineral. Where am I expecting that I should find it? If I'm in Abuja, should I be searching for coal? Or if I'm in the basement area, should I be searching for coal? Where do I expect to see it? And that gives us just a brief of the various major geological geological divides in the country. So we have the basement complex and of course the sedimentary basins, as you can see on the screen. What else do? We look at regional geological mapping. And of course, apart from looking at the total 182 million map of the country, the Geological Survey also does some detailed mapping, even though on regional scale, at the 1 into 100, 1 into 50,000, 1 into 250, 1 into 1 million. But out of the 337, 1 into 100,000 map sheets in the country, the Geological Survey has been able to have published about 112 of that, having a deficit of 225. The Geological Survey, we have also looked at our geological map and have introduced, of course, the lithostructural map and the tectonic components of that map using some existing data that we'll all go through as we get deeper into the presentation. And this just shows us some of our works and some of the map products that the Geological Survey has. Is typical, and even at the moment, some of our staff are already in the field, some are returning, they've been in the field for several weeks, trying to map certain sheets that have been designated to them. And, this is what we typically do, because without these maps, you have little or no direction, not to talk of start thinking of winning critical minerals. And of course, there's the geochemical mapping component of it. And you could see that, of course, the geochemical data is very critical in mineral exploration, and of course, even in agriculture and land use issues. And the country is divided into about 44 cells. And these mappings have been in progress. 9 cells made up of about 68 sheets have already been completed. And there are also renewed efforts to map about 30 sheets cutting across 4 cells. You could see from the charts those areas that have been completed by NGSA and those completed with the British Geological Survey in partnership with NGSA. There are also those ongoing, as you can see from the map. And of course, the results of this geochemical mapping are quite revealing. On the assessment of the TIN and REEs in Katsina Ala, as an example, you could see the results down where you are having a total rare earth elements in parts per million, heading into 78,000, 89,000, 120,000, and with different elements listed there like lithium, tantalite, and the rest of them. So with the geochemical data, you have a lot of information that could help you in also carrying out more target exploration. Of course, what are the REEs going to do for you? They be used very useful in industrial applications, of course, in the electronics and in clean energy as we are transiting. Still very useful in the aerospace and automotive and defense industry. So, and we have with us records of different data sets, now the airborne geophysical data set. We have, of course, the total coverage for our magnetic, airborne magnetics, near total coverage for the radiometric data, and of course, gravity data on parts of the Niger Delta, covering the entire Niger Delta. And that has also helped us in producing some maps and lineament maps, as you can see on the left bottom. This is the old data for the magnetics. I will call them old because currently data is being acquired with a higher resolution than what we have. What we have is just for flight line spacing about 500 meters with terrain clearance of 80 meters. But currently, the country is acquiring data with flight line spacing of 150 and terrain clearance of 50 meters. We also have our time domain EM that was targeted on some specific areas where you have those yellow boxes in Benue area, in Ife, Ilesha, and in Benue. These areas were selected after the initial interpretations of the magnetic and the radiometric data. So they are more or less pilot areas which have anomalies that could be targeted and we believe could have response using the TDEM. And those are the results and the areas that have been targeted, as I mentioned. So I also introduced that currently we are having acquisition of additional data, high resolution, airborne data, targeted to acquire about 1,350,000 line kilometer of MAGRAD data. Currently, I think we've done over 60% of that with the completion target to be in December this year. Is also targeted in areas of high promise, those where you have your greens and the red boxes. Those are the proof of concept areas that have been targeted for this high resolution airborne data. We also have gravity data. You know, the gravity data is also an important data for mineral exploration, especially when you're targeted minerals that could have contrast with reference to their densities. It's also very helpful in modeling, especially in areas where you have challenges of having a lot of intrusives and volcanics, which can be quite challenging when you're using only the magnetic data. So the gravity data comes in handy in such areas because the volcanics tend to mask a lot of responses. So you have to do a lot of cleanup as you're modeling. But with the gravity data, your model will be better constrained. So we've done gravity data acquisition over the country, covered those states that you're seeing there. The Niger Delta, of course, airborne gravity has covered it. On ground, we have covered Ebonyi, Enugu, Anambra, Benue, Kogi, Ekiti, Ondo, Osun, Kaduna, Katsina. We've done part of FCT, hope to be concluding that. Also parts of Kwara, eastern part of Kwara. The idea is to densify and to acquire gravity data that could be used for mineral exploration, geological research, and for geodesy. There on the screen, you could see the different gravity meter we used in acquiring this gravity data. First with the Lacoste and Rombach CG512. And of course, apart from the G512, we've been able to acquire the CG6, which has, of course, a better resolution and could be used both for regional gravity surveys and for targeted microgravity surveys. And of course, the agency also has a lot being done on geochronology because it's good to have a target in terms of the ages of the rocks, because information relating to these ages of the rocks gives you a lot of information of geological events that must have taken place both in the formation of the rocks and thereafter. The study is expected to generate credible data and deepen our understanding of the geology of Nigeria, which invariably will rub off on our mineral exploration targets. We also have this map on the lithostructural map of Nigeria, just launched last year, where we have made use of not just the geological information or information from different groups, but again, information from the global and total coverage data we have, magnetic data and the radiometric data. As you see, that's the radiometric, the magnetic data, the radiometric data and the magnetic data, where we have been able to pull out adequate information that has given us further ideas and helped us to characterize the country and look at the country in a more detailed way in terms of the domains within the country. I hope I'm still so audible.
Loud and clear.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so, and you could see the map explanation, which tells you a lot. In this business meeting, one thing I want to let us know is that I might not go into all the details here, but these maps, as I mentioned, even during the NAPE conference, they are on our website. And at the end of this program, we can all take time to visit those websites and download some of these maps that can help us in our understanding of geology and mineral target. So how do we now use these regional maps? And of course, the regional maps are to give you insights, the primary data that you can interpret and help you identify areas of interest or areas that you need to follow up on. And that brings us bringing us closer to what we are looking at. So if you're able to identify area, let's say a high strain area that you feel is associated with specific mineralization, and you're able to pull out those high strain areas or a rig-activated area, a shared area, and which you have identified from the magnetic data, from the radiometric data, then you can now target them on ground. And that is what we term by the follow-up. And this is one of the work we did in Kuje, targeting gold and of course associated sulfides in those areas. Of course, we are lucky that in the country, most of our ores hardly occur alone. So they always occur in association. Before, when most of the people mining for the gemstones over the past 5-10 years, and they never used to look at the lithium ores like the spodumene or the lepidolites. In fact, they throw them away. So they throw them away. They just target their gemstones, tourmaline, aquamarine, beryl, and they go away with it. But you can see now that it's like they're now throwing away the gemstones and going for the lithium ores. So we did this in Kuje, and if you look at the magnetic data, we've already targeted an area where we have some high frequency responses, and those areas are the areas that we went on ground using the ground mag, developed our line parameters, and acquired the data, processed them, and you could see those maps with the anomalies well projected. We've also used the time domain EM to target on ground, and in Elisha area, and using our cylingram promise 10 to see how some of these anomalies that we have pulled out from the EM data, whether we can confirm them. And if you look at the structures, these lineaments trending north, east, south, southwest, they conform with the areas that we have already interpreted from the time domain EM. Apart from the sulfides, which we targeted, another critical mineral that is also playing a great role, especially in the production of solar panels because of its resistance to heat, is graphite. The agency has done 2 projects on 2 different identified graphite occurrences in Salawa area in Kaduna and then Wariji area in Bauchi. And we've covered those areas on ground magnetics and also EM surveys. And you could see the plots, the pseudo sections we have here, which had helped us to target areas for ground trenching. The photographs of those trenches are there, if you're looking at it. And these trenches have also confirmed the occurrence of these graphitic schist and the zones that are rich in graphite. It has also been analyzed, and we're having a total carbon of between 0.1% to 4.4%. This is for the Wariji, the same thing, but the mode of occurrence is slightly different. While we have the Salawa occurring within the schist zones, this occurs in pure basement areas. And so it's more or less the Salawa, because of its mode of occurrence, though slightly lower quality than what we have in Wariji, but it's quite much more extensive, while the one in Wariji is more localized. But our ground surveys have been able to review and pick them, and we have also trenched and taken samples for analysis, and the analysis come out very good for graphite. And it has a lot of usage in this our journey of transiting. We've also had some ground targets for lithium, quite a number, but I just selected a few. In Nasarawa area, we have Nasarawa State, Malam to be precise. We have also used magnetics and radiometry to cover that area based on our earlier interpretations from the airborne data. And you could see that making use of the PGIS and the combination of another spectrometer, our RS 230 BGO. So these are 2 spectrometers with 2 types of different detectors. But the interesting thing that combining both of them and taking data simultaneously on the same profile, the data came out so wonderfully well, even though we used 2 different systems. And this is the interpretation. So if you look at what we have here, areas where we have high peaks in our potassium, especially on the composite image, which is the one I have, the ratio map, the one I have on my, where the cursor is, my right bottom, you could see that initial areas where you could have some potassium highs, so to say. When you do your ratio, then you can be able to deal with the real potassium enrichment in some of these areas, especially on a regional scale. But the interesting thing is also that the magnetics has also been able to delineate boundaries between areas where you have these pegmatite plugs and which the radiometry on the ratio has also shown. And that area on the elevation map is actually a structure which is also controlling the drainage in the area. So you could see striking correlation or a relationship between where the magnetics has been able to delineate a boundary and this low here, where you have most of the pegmatite plugs and where you have most of the artisanal mining and abandoned mine pits. The model line here also shows that. Likewise, I've mentioned on this work before, the one in Kuje. I wouldn't talk on that. So in my introduction, I said we could look at also some special interventions, and the government have also keyed into this transition. Yes, we have various countries blessed with various resources, be it petroleum, oil and gas, mineral, but we need to also step up our game in making sure that some of the data we are able to acquire ourselves are also high quality data that are sellable to. And the NIME program have targeted some of these areas with interest in ores of lead, zinc, silver itself, the rare earth metals, chromium, cobalt, and a whole lot of them. There have been works in different parts of the country, as you can see, in Saoni area, in the Elisha area. These areas have been targeted for gold, for nickel, for cobalt, for the platinum group of elements, and the results you will see subsequently in the next slide. These are some of the drilling results, because it's a complete project from the interpretation of the airborne data to ground follow-up, to pitchings, to samplings, and to drilling. And these results are quite encouraging for some of these elements that we are targeting, like copper, like our nickel, to an extent, like, of course, the lithium, which, of course, we mentioned earlier, would drive the storage aspects of this transition. These are still results from the NIME project, and these results are on our website. You can download them, look at them, critique them, and also get a lot of knowledge about the distribution of these minerals and metals that would aid us in this transition, both for us locally and to also aid the international community. And these are some of the results. We're having tantalites of over 1,000 ppm. You have your lithium, 1.37%. There are still some other ones where we've had lithium of 2.4, lithium oxide of 2.4, and even in excess. So these are some of the results, and encouraging results, targeting some of these metals, which in the openings we listed, that will drive both the direct technology and the sub technologies in these energy dynamics. Same with here, still more results from different areas for the NIME project. We mentioned gas, and this is another area that we feel we need to do a lot. Apart from the issues of having associated gas with oil, we've also had records of so many gas wells plugged all over the country, or sealed all over the country several years ago. And I think we believe that it's time to start looking at some of these wells that have been sealed. The recent event at the Caritas University is quite instructive, where a water borehole was being drilled, and they struck a zone that was under pressure with gas. So what we did was to send men to those areas to pick the ground position of that drill point and correlate it with some of our records and interpreted data. We use the radiometric data to look at that, because the radiometric data is very excellent in giving you boundaries between different rock units or formation, and even different basins. So if you look at the map we have, this radiometric map has been able to delineate the boundary between the Anambra Basin to my left and the Benue Trough to my right. And when we plotted where that event happened, this red dot, and correlated it with the oil seepage at Ugweme, they fell on that line of unconformity between the Anambra Basin and the Benue Trough. And if you take a distance from Ugweme down south, all to the north, you're talking of an area of more than 150 kilometers. And if these areas are further studied, maybe using seismic and other, maybe gravity, then you could see that we might be having resources that are just low-hanging fruit that can help us. Cleaner energy, more reliable, easy to access because of where they are. And that would have helped us too as a contribution in this whole energy dynamics that is stretching through the whole world and challenging mankind. So this is a place that we believe for us in the geosciences, we still have a great role to play, looking at these surfaces that we know that could act as a traps for gas and even for petroleum. We can't do without having some infrastructure for analyzing some of these mineral commodities or elements or samples that have been recovered in the course of these studies. So, of course, the agency is aware of that, and we have a high quality laboratory in Kaduna, and also setting a subunit here in Abuja to help in analyzing these minerals. So the new XRF is currently, we've had one before, and of course the ICMPS is also being currently installed here in Abuja. This infrastructure that, of course, where geosciences comes in, people that are in mineral analysis and checking the assays of the various samples that have been recovered. And of course, linkage of those data to a common access point, so that if you have a coherent information, geoscience information, then it helps you to carry out your research or target your exploration properly, because everything starts and ends with data. Once you don't have the reliable and high quality data, then your targeting from the origin will be heavily compromised. But it's good to have this linkage, and that is what we have done with the agency being linked in one common geodata set. These are still some of the products. I won't go through that. I think we have all seen quite a lot in terms of the data within our suite. The only one I would like to mention is on the metallogenic domain and mineralization map, which was just unveiled recently, just yesterday, by the Secretary to the Government of the Federation at the mining conference here. Yeah. That metallogenic map is what you're seeing on the screen. We have been able to develop this to the critical map that can help anyone who wants to carry out exploration from the origin to the stage of targeting specific mineral, because it has been able to look at and divide the country into metallogenic provinces, looking at the mineralization provenance, looking at the mineral systems, dividing the country into mineral systems, looking at the fluid magma systems too. Then, of course, the deposit types. So it's a sequential study using all the data available in the agency, including the airborne geophysical and radiometric data. And that has been able to help us to look at high strain areas, especially those areas associated with late Cretaceous faulting system. Also, the post-tectonic peralkaline intrusives, which are typical. Of course, if you're looking at the magnetic data, they have a unique representation on the magnetic data. You can use that to, of course, qualify them and create them into domains. We've also been able to pull out late tectonic reactivated shared zone systems. All these you have in the map you're looking at on the screen. And that map has also taken into account the tectonic evolution in the country in considering and attempting to name these mineral systems that are prevalent in the country. So it's unique because it has looked at the origin and the evolution of these mineral systems and characterize them into different means. So in conclusion, we'll be looking at that the contributions of these various minerals we've mentioned, just a few of them. There are quite a lot, but I just wanted to focus on just very few of them, but that are critical. Of course, the lithium, the graphite, gas, the sulfide, copper, and the rest of them. These are areas that we know are going to also contribute in the various energy systems and in the various consumption systems that are abound as we are transiting. So this graph is just a chart, it's just to show those contributions, both from lithium and from other minerals like copper, ores or metals like copper, nickel, cobalt. So, and you could see that, of course, the energy system for the lithium is contributing so much within for electric vehicles, because the electric vehicles are going to drive a lot of demand for batteries. And that's why the lithium makes it's quite noisy amongst all the critical minerals we are considering. There you could see the contribution of others in the chart as we have it on the screen. Okay, so as we are concluding, we know that this transition, as I mentioned earlier, is not going to be easy. It's not, there's no single bullet solution to it. But each country and each nation must be able to domesticate and must be able to be proud of what it has and work on knowledge of what it has. And that knowledge can only be driven when you have the capacity and enough data to beat your chest and say, yes, this is what we have, and this is how it's going to contribute in solving this problem. So because with a demand of over 3 billion tons of minerals and metal, it's going to be huge for the world. And the demand of these critical minerals like graphite, which we have, lithium, cobalt, nickel, niobium, tantalum, etc., and the REs, there will be a jump of over 500% in their demand between last 2 years, 2020 to 2050. So a low carbon future will be very intensive in terms of the mineral demand for these clean energy technologies. The agency where I work has also done, apart from its traditional projects, have also done a lot of interventionist projects in this direction of creating enough data for these critical minerals. And this is the direction many nations, including our country, should be heading. We're glad that we're heading that way. It has to be accelerated, not just for our nation, but for all the nations and for mankind. Because when you say 2050, we're already just 3 decades away from it. So these, as I mentioned earlier, some of these products and the introductions I've made are on the website. So even the new high resolution airborne data that I mentioned is being acquired currently is on the web. We'll have some of them that have been concluded and processed and approved on the website. We also have flyers on the integrated mineral exploration program. It's on the website. People could download and have a look at it. It's a structural map of the country which we have developed, making use of our information from our geological mapping, from our chemical mapping, and also information from the airborne geophysical data sets, especially the magnetic data and the radiometric data that are there. And it's free too for people to download. And of course, this will have our website here at www.ngsa.gov.ng. And we sincerely thank our DG also for keeping the agency alive and to its duties, and not resting on his oars, make it a world-class agency. Thank you all.
Wow. Applause from here. Hello, my chair. You're still on.
Yes, I'm on. I've been clapping the traditional way of clapping. Yeah. Yes, that is most fantastic. I know we have like 15 minutes for questions, so I'll try not to let my comments take too much time. But this is fantastic. I know one of the things that came to my mind. I know I'm not on NAPE ESCO, but I think we should be thinking of a workshop, a NAPE workshop, but it will be geological surveys, it will be the NGSA that actually comes and we sit together and review these type presentations, a proper workshop, not something we try to squeeze in 30 minutes or 45 minutes, because this is awesome. I like the way it started, the fact that the geoscientist has a role, so that should be comforting to the young ones who are on the platform, the fact that we have a role. But it's also true that there is a transition that is taking place. Maybe taking place slowly, but it's happening. At the CCUS workshop yesterday, one of the things that came up was the role of seals and faults. Where are you going to store this carbon? Seals and faults are even more important, as it were, than storage of hydrocarbons. So the earth scientist has a big role. There's the role for technology innovation. Yes, he mentioned that there have been previous transitions. We went from stone to wood and things like that. We didn't leave generating energy from stone because we ran out of stones. No, the stones are still there. But, the dynamics changed. Energy requirements changed. And then we had to look for alternatives. But, in today's situation, it's not just that the dynamics are changing, but the impacts of fossil fuels and fuels like that on climate change that is being noticed. So that is like an added impetus leading the transition that we are seeing. But I'll leave all that. I'm really very impressed with the work that Geological Surveys has made. And I think there needs to be more forum for sharing that knowledge. He highlighted the place of data, the fact that data is really very, very key. And I completely agree with that. I think I would stop at that point so that others who have questions or comments, would make theirs. I would try to reach him one-on-one for my additional education on the work that
his institution has done. So Dr. Dean, how do we go about the question and answer? Can I turn that over to you?
Okay. While you are still on standby, the floor is open for everyone, either by typing on the Q&A section on top of your screen. You see a Q&A section. Somebody has already typed in something, or by a show of hand, we'll unmute you to talk. Anyone, you are free. We have roughly 10 minutes for the Q&A section. Raise your hand. It could be question, it could be comments. All are allowed at the moment. We have Onyama Achukwu Ononye. The comment here just say, great presentation, sir. That's what we have so far, my chair, while we wait for feedback from participants.
So, any other questions or comments?
Yeah, I think someone, Handel Crisp, typed in something. He says, we have seen a shift in the Northern Hemisphere towards digitization of thin section collection and 3D mineralogical data collection through X-ray microscopy for education purposes. Is this also a path for your organization? Thank you for the excellent presentation. So this is a question typed on the Q&A section.
Our guest speaker, you have the floor. If you
okay, okay, I thought they were. Okay, yeah, thank you so much for the compliments and for that. As I mentioned, the mandate of the Geological Survey is quite wide, and of course covers everything that has to do with geoscience information and generation of high quality data that could help not just in targeting earth resources, but in looking at variations or changes over time in the geomagnetic space, in the gravity space, and all whatnot. So in this area, as is mentioned, in the areas of 3D mineralogical data collection, of course, why not? The agency, as I mentioned, have various departments, especially that has to do with direct mineral exploration, the economic geology department, and of course the geophysics, who happen to be all out in search of these minerals and creating new finds. So if it's an area worth trying, why not? We'll continue building on what we have. And as I said, each geological survey typically domesticates what it needs. Geological survey, British Geological Survey as it is today might not have been how it were some years back. And they might not involve themselves in some studies because of changes in dynamics. But our country is evolving, so areas that will be of critical interest to the nation will be our priority. And that's how nations develop. You copy what is excellent in other jurisdictions and make it comfortable for you to use locally. So it's an area that the agency, of course, is very keen on.
Right. Thank you very much for that answer. More room for comments. You can raise your hand, or you can ask directly using My technical coordinator, look, I think there's one on Q&A. Can you check it,
Yeah,
please?
there is one that just, yeah. Yeah, so this one is from Professor Simon Cassidy. Good presentation. My question goes like that. Sir, going by the energy transition, is NGSA doing anything about locating geothermal reservoir in Nigeria?
Oh, excellent. Yes, and the NGSA has a lot of activities around the geothermal because we already have the data for such studies. And the magnetic data and the radiometric data we have has also given the agency that leverage to look at the geothermal potentials of the country. You know, at times it's not as if you have to leave something for another, but priorities at times change. For geothermal energy is an energy resource that is very close to the heart of the NGSA because of the availability of data. I believe in this whole gamut of transition is going to begin to play a prominent role in our research directions over years. So, of course, it's part of our program, and we've done some. We hope to also reignite and push for more studies in that aspect of geothermal energy.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Amobi, for your response to that question. So we have two more questions. So the first is from Paul Ogunleye. So Paul, his question is, how has the NGSA been able to do detailed follow-up or ground truthing of identified area with good mineral potential in the face of grave insecurity in the country?
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, Prof. Yes, it's a challenging area for the agency and for the entire geoscience community. It's a challenging thing for our profession. It's a risky thing too for the profession. But what we do is that we try to create some due diligence of areas, discrete security briefing on some of the areas we intend to do these ground follow-up exercises. Unfortunately, this is where we have found ourselves. So it's also telling on the pockets for our exploration spendings and budgeting, because it wouldn't be good to send people to the field and they run into major security crisis. So we work hand in hand with the different security apparatus in the country, including the police, of course, and the DSS, and to an extent, the military. Of course, the police and the DSS and the civil defense and the local securities, vigilantes in these communities help us to provide information, help also to redirect us away from areas of high risk. So it's not as if it's not affecting. It's really affecting because there are some areas which we know that that have high mineral potentials, even for these critical minerals that we are all searching for. Take a state like Niger State. You know, most of our works have not have not covered in full Niger State because of some of these security challenges. We've worked in some part of it, but there are also high potential areas. Take an area like the Awka area in Kaduna. These are areas that are high risk areas, but there are also areas with high mineral potentials. The map looks scary because you see that the security challenges are more in those areas that are very rich, even from our interpretations here in the office and some of the ground follow-up exercises we have carried out. So we work with the security to redirect and to make sure we don't put ourselves and the personnel at risk. But it's not an easy thing, but we have to push on. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your response, Doc. So we have more questions coming in. The next is from Dr. Ezokoro. Thank you, Doc Amobi, for the powerful presentation. My questions are: one, are there efforts by NGSA to acquire FTG data to enhance hydrocarbon and mineral exploration in the country? That's his first question. The second question, from the presented high-res maps, I noticed that none of them cover the offshore concessions where some hydrocarbon discoveries have been made. Is there a reason for this? The offshore could be potential target for CO2 sequestration if we are able to map the continental ocean boundary and identify the flood basalts, which are good reservoir for CO2 storage. So I don't know. So I think it's, how do you prefer? Do you prefer that I go through the questions one by one, or I let you respond and then I read out the next?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know.
If I may suggest, maybe you read them through so that he answered them all, because we have limited time.
Okay.
So I think there are 3 or 4 remaining, so that he attends to them once. And there is, I saw Modera's hand. I think he's still on the call, so we take those.
Okay,
try
so
to wrap up. It's already one.
Okay, so the next question from Professor Anthony Okoro. This is a fantastic rundown of the work of NGSA. Congratulations, NGSA. Please extend your research to sheet 228, Katakwa, northeast and southwest, just southwest of the FCT. You discussed 2 areas where you have investigated graphite. There is a zone of graphite schist within the folded metasedimentary succession north of the Muro village. So I think this is more or less like a suggestion for subsequent studies. So I moved to Nguto Prince Taiwa. Quite an excellent, fantastic, fascinating and educating presentation. Doc, when and how can we access the recorded version? So, well, I guess for this, we normally have this on YouTube for the response. I mean, for the recorded session, and I think it will come like after this presentation. The last question on the chat is, that was a great presentation. Does NGSA have any role in supporting the training of the future geoscientists? Because mapping nowadays is highly risky. What is the way forward? Thanks. Israel Itobru, PhD.
Okay. Okay, so I'll go with Dr. Eze Okoro, and whether the NGSA has plans for FTG data to enhance. Yes, not in the box at the moment. But we have gravity data that has covered the Niger Delta, as I mentioned. And that data is available. But he was mentioning that he noticed that the coverage of the current effort is not heading to the offshore area. It's because the current high resolution data is targeted at some provinces that has been interpreted for some of these minerals that we just went through the presentation as regards the roles they will play in the future net zero targets of mankind, so to say. So those areas were areas, proof of concept areas, areas that have been pre-interpreted for those targets. And that's why this high resolution covered those areas. But for the gravity data, we still have a reasonably airborne good resolution gravity data for the Niger Delta. And that has also, quite a lot of people have also been able to use that data to look at some hydrocarbon footprints in the Delta. That is available, and that can also be acquired. Yes, for issues of carbon sequestration and storage and the rest, it could help. It could be very helpful, as he mentioned. But for the current studies, it was targeted for these minerals and critical minerals or special minerals that they are mentioned. Then Prof gave Prof worked with the agency, so he also has a lot of knowledge on how to operate. So he has mentioned the sheet Katakwa and Northeast 228 and Southwest. Those are south of the FCT for follow-up for graphitic sheets. That is well noted. We have some other targets for follow-up in Adamawa and Taraba State. So this that he has mentioned would also be a good place to look out for ground follow-up exercises, just as we have done in Saulawa in Kaduna State and in Owerri. And then Peace talked about access to recorded version. So I'm sure NAPE and the coordinators will be able to make those that have participated have access to that. Israel talked of supporting future geosciences mapping. Risky way forward. Okay, he said, does NGSA have any role in supporting training of future geoscientists? Okay, he's still talking about the risk about mapping and the support of NGSA. NGSA, we're always proud to say if an agency would have accolades and awards for supporting young people, NGSA is one of the agencies of government that prioritizes that. In a cycle of a year, we have a lot of young people, core members from people that come for internship, serving with us, both here in Abuja, in our zonal offices, in Kaduna, in Enugu, and all over the country. Take tens and hundreds at times for internship. Corpers, at times we might have cumulative of over 60, 30 corpers in geosciences and related fields serving with us. So we have a robust program for them because they also get attached to projects in the cycle that they will be with us. If there's an ongoing project, they get attached to those projects. We also give presentations to them and give them projects using some of our data for them to work on. So we have a robust program for the young people and young geoscientists, and with the DG, current DG, Dr. Abdulrazak Garba, is even more, because at times when you come to our office, it looks as if you're in a higher institution, because there are a lot of young people that are undergoing experience in the lab, experience engineering lab, hydro, in petrography, in geophysics, in the geochemical mapping. Some of them already have some good experience in it. And we give them opportunity to even make presentations. So, and we'll continue improving on that. Yes, we do, and we'll work more to do more. I trust the DG in that direction. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Doc, for taking these questions. So I think I'm going to hand over to our IBU coordinator to, if there are no more questions or maybe comments. So my IBU coordinator.
I think Mode raised his hand. Professor Mode raised his hand.
I'm so sorry. I couldn't. Okay. I'm so sorry. So in that case, please, Prof, go ahead and ask your question. I'm so sorry. I may have missed it. Hello, Prof. Can you hear me?
Hello. Tunde, can you unmute him, Professor Mode? I think he raised his hand. Otherwise, we... Oh, he said my question has been answered. Oh, great.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Prof. Yeah. All right. Thank you very much, my technical chair, Dr. Chema. And thank you, my chair. The usual tradition is if it were to be physical, I would have handed over an award plaque. And that award plaque, I can tell you, is on transit. Hopefully you get it between now and during the NAPE conference. That's the, with respect to our guest speaker. But what we also do, if you check your email, you will confirm that, please kindly check your email and also confirm that you have got an award of appreciation from the chapter for a wonderful presentation you did for us. Dr. Alu, please confirm this while we are on. And also, we have also sent also an email. When I say we have sent an email, it looks like I wanted to say we have sent a prayer.
Oh my goodness.
So we have sent an email also to our chair, Oga KK, to appreciate him for this. And I'm happy before because when you climb the Iroko, you climb the tree, you get everything. I'm happy the president is still on the call and also the president-elect. Before I call them in to appreciate our speaker and the chairman, I would like to call on the publicity secretary, Austin Mbeme, who is also on the call, please, to tell us more about what we expect, even as we move into the conference and some of the activity. Austin, if you're on, please, the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you very much, my able coordinator. Tunde, please, can you help me share the announcement on the screen? All right. Thank you, everyone, for joining us for this technical meeting. So, as you all know, we hold technical meetings across different chapters, and of course, also in Lagos. Today is one of those remarkable days where we have listened to an exciting and thought-provoking paper, which is being delivered by Dr. Godwin. Thank you very much. And we also have other lineup of technical meetings coming up later this month. For Lagos edition, we're going to be having a technical meeting on the 25th of October, 2023, which will be delivered by Aradel Holdings. And the topic is a journey into the energy future, the Aradel Holdings story. And on that same day, we're also going to be having a press conference just to promote the NAPE conference. And of course, as you all know, the NAPE conference is happening in less than in few weeks' time. And the topic is repositioning the oil and gas industry for future energy dynamics from 12th to 16th, 2023. Next. All right, so for all those of us that have not registered for the conference, this will be a very good opportunity to register right now. Go to conference.nape.org.ng and quickly do your registration. This year we have online registration enabled so that to make it easier for everyone to be registered. Next. Okay, so this year we have done so well with the exhibition space, but we still have just a little pocket of spaces here and there. So perhaps your company is thinking of exhibiting and showcasing your products and services and some of the impacts that your company is making across the industry. It will be a good opportunity for you to sign up, get a space to showcase your capability, your company's capability. And for inquiries, please do well to reach out to Mr. Lawrence. So as part of the conference lineup of activities, one of the key programs that we have that will be coming up is the All Convention Luncheon, which will be holding on November 13th. And we have confirmed a keynote speaker, panelist, and moderator. And as you can see on the screen, and the event is being sponsored by ExxonMobil and Donor Spectre. So we'll look forward to seeing you at the conference to attend all the programs. Then we also have another program, the pre-conference workshop, which is actually a pre-conference activity which will hold on the 6th of November, just a week before the conference. This is also a must attend, basically. And the topic for this year is unlocking Nigeria's remaining energy potential to fuel economic growth and diversification, opportunities and challenges. So do well to make plans to attend. Okay, so we also have management section this year. We're going to be having 2 management sessions this year, and one of them will be holding on 4th and next. More details for the management sessions are going to be provided as we are trying to close out on some of the speakers for the sections. Then we also have the short courses, which have all gone out live. So perhaps you have interest in participating in any of the short courses, please do well to sign up. We need maximum registration and participation this year. You can reach out to the Assistant Editor-in-Chief, Dr. Sunday Amoyedo, or you reach out to Mr. Tunde from the NAPE Secretariat to register your interest to attend many of the courses. We'll have 5 courses this year. Okay, so for those of us who have not paid our membership dues, please, this is a reminder for us to get our membership dues up to date so that we can all participate in most of the association's activities. All right, next. Okay, so this is for NAPE dues. You can also reach out to Abiye at the NAPE Secretariat to get more details about how you can make payment for your dues. All right, so NAPE is we partnered with African Energy. We partnered with African Energy Week, and the conference is ongoing. But unfortunately, we were unable to attend due to some diplomatic challenges. We were unable to participate. For monthly technical meetings, we're already sold out for this year, as you cannot see, but for next year, openings are out. So if you want to take a slot to sponsor any technical meeting or to also give a speech, please do well to reach out to the president-elect or reach out to the Mr. Lawrence Oswago to register your interest for next year. Next. Okay, so we have NAPE HMO Health Management Organization package for members. If you want to take advantage of this, please reach out to the NAPE Secretariat, speak to Mr. Tunde, and he will take it on board. All right, thank you very much, everyone, for listening, and I look forward to seeing you at the conference this year. Thank you. Over to you, Dr. Dim.
All right, thank you very much for that, my PS. I don't know if the EIC is still on the call. Just a snapshot on those that are still maybe expecting a acceptance for their paper, I think, or maybe you have something to say about it. Dr. Sufalobo, Adekule, are you still on the call? You have the floor. Hello, Doc, are you still there? You can unmute and speak. Okay, all right. It looks like he's having challenges in connecting. I will want to call on the president before the PE wrap up for us to give us a vote of thank and thank our chair and also the presenter. Our president.
Yeah, Dr. Dean, thank you very much. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, sir.
Okay. Thanks, Dr. Dean. Yeah, on behalf of the EXCO and board of trustees and the advisory council, I think we've listened to an hour of very insightful expose from the presenter, and I would say thank you very much for his putting all resources together to ensure that we were a lot more informed about the resources that we were at the beginning of this session today. Also, we thank the chairman, KK, for always being there for NAPE and for being there for us today during this session. Having said that, big thanks and kudos to the Awka Owerri chapter for putting this together again. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Thank you very much, my president. Thank you very much. My PE, please wrap up for us and also, yeah.
All right, thank you, Dr. Dean. Just to write on the back of the president, I would also like to thank Dr. Godwin for providing all this insightful presentation this afternoon. And just to also mention that NAPE will continue to create a platform where we have this kind of intellectual dialogue. So I don't know if Dr. Amobi is aware, with NAPE as a forthcoming conference, we've made provision for NGSA to exhibit at the NAPE conference, and that communication has gone. So we hope to see NGSA and some of our distinguished members, some of the questions that they've asked, I'm sure they will be able to have a one-on-one interaction with NGSA at the forthcoming NAPE conference. So we look forward to having NGSA at the NAPE conference. And in conclusion, I think the evolving role of applied geosciences in the current energy dynamics represent a transformative journey towards a sustainable future for every one of us. And as we continue to navigate this complexity, we need to embrace integration of cutting-edge technology so that we'll be able to better map the future energy scenarios. So I want to thank Awka Owerri also for this platform, and we look forward to welcoming everyone in November at the NAPE conference. Thank you very much and have a wonderful day.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Yeah, it's time for networking. Thank you very much. Professor Wajide, we see you. Thank you for being on the call.
Okay, sorry, I was just offline when you